guys having a good day? Well, this is a good day to be here because you guys are going to get in on the ground floor of a major TV sensation. And I'm very excited to be here for Da Vinci's Demons. And we have some cast members here, and we have a creator here, and we're going to show you guys a little bit of footage and bring you into the world, the history, but of course we all know history is alive, but we're going to talk about it live. It's going to be great. So we're going to start it with a guy who has, if you think about the great success that Hollywood has had, bringing comic book mythology to the screen, you have to think of this guy's name on that short list, one of the guys who's been essential. There's a film called Batman Begins. I think it's available on DVD if you missed it. There's another movie called Dark Knight that's generally well regarded. Another film called Dark Knight Rises. And there's a movie next year called Man of Steel that I'm very, very excited about. Well, maybe we can pry loose a couple details about that. But help me welcome David S. Goyer. I realize my name is Jeff Boucher at Entertainment Weekly. I forgot to say that. Hello. Mom always says introduce yourself. I forgot to introduce myself. David, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Welcome.
I'm also a fan of Jeff. So.
Thanks, sir. Well, you are the creator, the writer, the director, the executive producer, and anything else with
the guy who gets mistaken for Stanley Tucci all the time. Happened on the floor today.
So, one of the things, you and I were talking a little bit about this show, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Just the footage that David brought today is very, very exciting. But when did this become part of your project list? When did you first start immersing yourself in this, and what was it about that intrigued you?
It was about 3 years ago, and I'd never done a historical drama before. I'd always been into Da Vinci, more into, I knew kind of more on this stuff than Last Supper, but as a kid, I found out that he invented the machine gun and the tank and things like that. And I don't know, he always seemed like the prototype Tony Stark to me. And I thought that was really cool. And so in a weird way, it wasn't dissimilar to adapting Batman or Superman, because he's become a near mythical figure, even though he's historical. There's so many lies and theories about him. Even recently, there's a theory that he created the Shroud of Turin, that he would hoax that, and they say they just found the grave of the original Mona Lisa. So it's been something I've been working on the back burner for about 3 years.
And then as you got into it, you found more and more things to sort of create as the constellation, the star points for this mythology that you're creating.
Well, one of the things that was really exciting was, at least for a creator like me, when we started Batman Begins, we realized, Chris and I, that even with Frank Miller's year one, there's been kind of a 7-year gap in Bruce Wayne's history when he left Gotham and came back before he started being Batman. And similarly, Da Vinci has about a 5-year gap in his history, but not much is known about what he was doing or where he was. About the time he was 27 to 32, so that's kind of the starting point. And then he was a journal keeper, and we know there are about 6,000 pages of his journals in existence, but within a year of his death, purportedly there were 13,000 pages. 7,000 of those pages went missing, had never been found. So I thought, well, what's in the other 7,000 pages? And that's kind of what the show's about.
Wow. Well, it's going to help people to talk about this more, I think, if you watch it.
Yeah, so I thank you for coming. I realize that there's not a lot of context for the show yet. In the U.S., it's going to be on Stars, and then it's going to premiere pretty much day and date in 122 countries around the world. It's going to be a global launch like they did with Walking Dead. And you guys, it's going to premiere, I believe, in April. And you guys are the very first audience to see anything from it. We're only showing it in this room. We're not releasing it online tomorrow, so you can say hopefully you were there first. And hope you like it.
Here it is. That was pretty great. The production values, that must be very exciting for you to see that on a big screen like that.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's, I had another show called Flash Forward that we shot in about 9 days an episode. We've taken about 14 to 15 days an episode on these, so it's nice. We're shooting more like a feature. It's sort of what we're going to.
And some fascinating voices, some fascinating faces, some fascinating naked people up there on the screen, and I think some of them are here. So maybe would you like to introduce three of your cast members?
So we're still filming. We've got about 3 weeks left in our first season, but first off, I'd like to introduce Lara Haddock, who plays the Creature Nanami. She is the woman in the red wig. Otherwise known as the Scarlet Woman in the trailer. Next, I'd like to introduce a young woman you guys might know from True Blood and Sherlock, Lara Pulver. She plays a woman named Clarice Orsini. And next we have Mr. Tom Riley, who American audiences may not be as familiar with, but I believe will be very familiar with when we premiere. He plays Vinci. And we saw over 500 people before we cast Tom.
450 of them said no. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the stage. So, Tom, for you, I don't know if you've seen that footage before, but to see it here with the crowd, that must be a pretty exciting moment.
It's amazing to see the reaction, yeah. Because we've only sort of seen it on an iPad or a laptop. It feels good when you're watching it. It's seeing it from you guys.
Terrific. Laura, what about you? Did you feel like, what's it like been filming? What's the set been like?
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely amazing. We're still filming actually, so we're here for a couple of days and then we go back and carry on until mid-November. But it's been such an amazing journey with an awesome crew, cast, creator, everybody involved has just made it pretty incredible.
Yeah. And I think there were some Sherlock fans out there. Did you hear that?
And I actually cast Lara before I'd seen that episode. It was only after I checked the episode out, I was like, holy shit.
It's be the same, yeah. Now we watch it every day on rerun.
Yes. Just have it endlessly and
clips.
Maybe each of you just talk a little bit about your characters and maybe how you found them, and a little bit about some connection you have to them and fascination you might have with them.
For sure. So I play Clarice Orsini, who is the wife of Lorenzo Medici. They are kind of the royalty of Florence in a sense, the ladies of Florence. I took a bit of a risk, I guess, in taking this on. It's a role that is seen and not particularly heard for the first 2 or 3 episodes. So bear with us on that. It's purposeful and it's hopefully exciting, and it makes her both elusive, mysterious, and hopefully a character that we ought to get to know more and more in the seasons to come.
And I would just add, I always like on TV shows when sometimes you introduce a character who's says, maybe nothing in the first couple episodes, and it turns out to be a really major character. And Clarice is a sort of master manipulator who you ultimately find out is much more in control of things than her appears.
But you've got half an hour, because she's a really complex character. She's very...
No spoilers.
Oh, no. But she's a girl. That's her.
You already say that.
Okay. Yeah, she's... What interested me in the creature is that she is so unbelievably motivated. And she's a woman who's dealing with so many different things in her life, so she's constantly wearing different hats in different areas of her life.
and she's married to a head textile at his Florence. She's kind of like a walking kind of clothes up, I guess, of his designs. And she's also the mistress of Lara's character, Lorenzo da Vinci. And Lorenzo commissioned a painter named Da Vinci to come in, and he paints Lucretia, and she calls for this kind of bohemian, exciting, dark artist. And all having a connection, and there's much more to kind of see as you go throughout the series of the characters. She's dealing with a hell of a lot and a lot of people.
And Da Vinci, everyone sort of has an idea of Da Vinci as the guy, the dry guy who did Mona Lisa, who has a big long beard and has that sort of portrait that exists in one version of him. There's no version of him young. So David's reimagined it as a kind of combination of Stark and Sherlock Holmes and Indiana Jones. Which which is incredible to play, because it has to get to play puzzle solving and action and adventure and explosions and relationships. Yeah, it's a really different take, but there's no precedent for it, because there isn't Da Vinci in modern pop culture, particularly like Assassin's Creed or something. So we managed to sort of create our own version, hopefully.
And also, part of the fun of the show is that Da Vinci came in contact with a lot of famous historical figures at the time. So we're not only doing our kind of skewed personal take on Da Vinci, but for instance, what were you filming just before you came here?
About 72 hours ago, I was thrown through a door by Vlad being paid.
So we get like, that's just an example of when I realized that Vlad was alive the same year that our show starts taking place, and he was only about 6 days first from where I was, and there was actually a good spot reason for the two of them to interact. And we won't just be in Italy in the show, we'll be kind of going all over the world.
Yeah, and the guy playing Vlad is fantastic. I don't know if you've seen Luther. There's a brilliant actor from Paul Reese, who plays one of the murderers in the early episodes, and he's amazing as Vlad, that cool.
David, you know, one of the things about this Da Vinci is he's a haunted figure, and I don't know if this is saying too much, but as a child, he goes into a cave, right?
Yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, we glimpsed a little bit in the trailer.
Reminds me of Gotham City once again.
Well, one of the things that's interesting about Da Vinci is that I started with my research with his journals, and there are these drawings of a cave that show up 3 or 4 times in his journals, and he writes about finding this cave when he was like 13, with sheep herding for his uncle, and then he writes that something dreadful happened in the cave. And we don't know what it is that happened in the cave, but it's so interesting that aside from the fact that Bob Kane based the designs for Batman on Da Vinci's glider, and Da Vinci and Bruce Wayne both had father issues, they both lost their mother, and it was really interesting that both these guys had these traumatic experiences in the cave. So the cave, we'll see you glimpsed a little bit of it in the trailer, and what happened in the cave, the mystery of what happened in the cave is one of the central mysteries of the show, because through positive that Da Vinci had photographic memory. The only two things he can't remember are what happened in the cave and the base of his mother. And so he's told by that kind of mystical figure that he saw early on that when he remembers those 2 things, a lot of others sort of secrets will be unlocked.
When you mentioned Assassin's Creed, tell us about some of the other influences. Not that, I mean, we saw this on the screen, it's very original and exciting and things, but for fans of different things, it's nice to see the threads that are being pulled together here. And Assassin's Creed was one of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a huge student of Joseph Campbell, and this show very much follows, the hero's journey in the same way that Star Wars did. And we jokingly talked about how different characters in the show have antecedents in Star Wars, so that the character who's referred to as the Turk is kind of his Obi-Wan, and the character in the black outfit, which is a historical figure named Cambriario, which is sort of our creator of the show. One of the things that's also cool is that virtually everyone in the show was based on a historical figure, but some of the characters, even Lucretia Donati, who Laura plays, what's cool about her is no one knows what happened to her, so we have some thoughts about it.
Yeah, we just saw Palpatine in the green room.
Yeah, in the green room, I know.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Geek boner.
So for each of you too, there's one of the things that the show has, there's a certain sexuality to it. Each of you have been talking a little bit about that backstage. I don't know what you want to talk about that backstage.
What? I want to talk about what now?
The guys.
Talk about how sexy you are.
There's some nudity there.
There's some nudity walking down, and it's me quite a lot of the time.
And who did you, Tom, at the train with?
Yeah, guys from Simon Wilson, who's Daniel Craig's train bombed, sort of got hold of me in February, and maybe nothing that I liked since. And it's just been a diet of brown rice and quinoa and tears.
You had to learn how to fight with two swords at the same time.
Yeah, boot camps and ambidextrous sword fighting and horse riding and painting with both hands and sort of constant, just trying to make all the things that made him who he was look effortless. And therefore no one will notice it, which will make it thankless. But it was tough, but really exciting. My left hand was some serious dexterity.
Stop. I can definitely vouch for that.
That's fantastic. Well, in a few minutes, we're going to take some questions from the audience, and I remind you guys that questions in question mark. So no proposals or pitches or death threats or any of those things. But before we do, because I know that there's other movies and projects out there in the world, David, I was going to ask you a quick question. The Man of Steel, that's Superman, right? It is. You brought the script here. We all get to read it. Oh, yeah. Chris Nolan would have liked that, I'm sure. I'm sure Zach would have liked that. But I wanted to ask you one thing about it, because we want to make sure that the audience questions kind of stick to things that won't make Chris Nolan mad. But tell us maybe 3 things you're excited about with Man of Steel.
Well, as you alluded to, it's a while before we get to Krypton. There's this slow roll. I am very excited for the world to see our interpretation of Krypton, which I think you've seen plenty of times, and it should be pretty mind-blowing. I'm really excited for everyone to see Russell Crowe's Giraffe. And just personally, I got the opportunity to take my kids on the set a couple of times and introduce them to Henry in the suit. He said, "You gotta listen to your dad because he's my boss." And then my kids were like, "What?"
That's great.
So one of them said, the second time we met Henry, his cape wasn't on, and he was like, "You're not Superman."
I love the way that works. It's fantastic. Okay, so we're going to take some questions. There's a microphone right over here, so if you have questions, and they can be questions about Sherlock or True Blood or anything.
I'll take questions from Stanley Tucci too.
Hello.
Hi. My question is actually about Vinci villains. How would you categorize the fantastic element in the show from, say, The Tudors, where there's almost no fantastic element, Game of Thrones, where there are dragons but nothing else, and Lord of the Rings, where there's like full-on fantasy?
Well, we got orcs in the show. No, it's, without revealing too much, it's definitely more fantastical than The Tudors. And we're kind of going to be skirting that edge between was that supernatural or is there kind of a scientific empirical explanation for what happened. Part of the thesis of the show is that Da Vinci's introduced to the world that he'd like to believe he has kind of the explanation for everything, and he's introduced to the idea that there might be things out there that he can't explain. Sort of indoctrinated into a secret society that existed, known as the Sons of Nicholas. So I would say there's a decent fantastic element.
Hey there, how you doing?
How do you approach writing? I know you read the Vinci's cameras a lot and use them as reference, but how did you actually like go about creating this? Like, how long did it take you to write the telephone for it?
We did a ton of research. I mean, we started with Da Vinci journals. There were a lot of books that have been written about him and biographies. We read a lot about Florence at the time and other historical figures. We got to a point, I knew his basic timeline, or at least what had been reported about him. But the other thing that's cool is that for a guy who's so famous, a lot of legitimate historians are still really debating various things, and no one knows who his mother was. And fairly recently they did fingerprint analysis on a bunch of his paintings, and they found these whorls in his fingerprints that they say are in sort of 95% of Turkish or Arabic population, and almost never found in Caucasians. And so the current theory is that his mom might have been half Arabic or half Turkish or something like that, and that just happened, I don't know, a year or two ago. So I just love the fact that people are always, it just seems like controversy has been swirling around about it forever. We've taken some of these with it, but I feel like we're chosen to take the least. We at least knew where we were starting. Hopefully that answers your question. How long did it take? I don't know. I wrote the script over the course of about a month, and then I got other writers on the show. We got a guy, Brian Nelson, who wrote Hard Candy, and one of the writers at 30 Days of Night screenplay. Another guy named Scott Dingle, who's on Walking Dead, did a couple of who's on Flash Forward. Good little group of writers.
It's fascinating. I can't understand what's interesting to see the images still in. Hey there, how are you?
Hey, what's up? Okay, you did very good jobs with The Dark Knight. I have one question for you. What is taking you so long to try to make a Teen Titans movie?
What up with that? We paid for that like years ago. Where's our movie, man? Come on.
I wish I were just automatically in control of all DC properties, but I'm not the only one that weighs into that. I'm good friends, obviously, with Jeff Johns and the other folks at DC and Warner Brothers, and obviously there's some other projects in the works that we can't talk about, but hopefully you'll be hearing about in the coming year or so.
Can you give us a list?
No.
Is Brother Power the Geek one of them?
Absolutely.
Hi there.
Hi. First, Ms. Pulver, you're my hero. That was the greatest, and you made it so amazing. Mr. Goyer, how did you get started in this industry? Because you kind of have the job that every person here would kill to have. So,
I killed a couple people. Yeah, I mean, a lot of life. I was going to be a cop. I'm from Michigan, and I was going to get a degree in police administration and homicide detective in Detroit. And
Detroit? Why Detroit?
from Michigan. Detroit was where a bunch of murders happened. That was a good job opportunity.
I started in Maui.
I don't know, truthfully what happened is I'd written some short stories that had won some awards, and a couple of my teachers heard about the screenwriting program at USC and convinced my mom that they thought I should go there, and they did kind of a letter campaign at USC to help me get in, and I was just one of those lucky bastards. I sold the script about 4 months after I graduated. I never had an honest job.
By the way, you were Call of Duty, right?
I work on Call of Duty Black Ops. We have another game coming out next month. Buy it.
What do you the rhythm of writing a video game, the rhythm of writing a TV show, the rhythm of writing a feature film? With comic books, I mean, you wrote Action 900, right?
A very controversial issue. That story.
Yeah, so which of those do you find the most sort of natural to your which do you have the greatest affinity for?
I've probably always had the greatest affinity for comic books, and it's been great that I haven't had as much time to get back into the comics, so Jeff Johns and I have been working in the background on a project that hopefully will see the light of day next year.
thank you again, and thank you, wonderful. Thank you.
Deadpool's here. Awesome.
Missed
You
that.
did say we're allowed to ask about Sherlock, right?
Sure.
Yeah? I don't want to be that guy. Okay. So, this is for Lara, obviously. Lara? Laura?
Lara.
It's Laura? Okay, sorry.
Laura?
Lara.
Lara.
I'm sorry. Oh my god, it's so confusing. Okay.
It's just for you.
I know, I have issues. It's okay. I just wanted to ask, did you do research on Irene Adler before you played her? Like, did you read the Scandal of Bohemia? Or, like, did you want to create your own Irene Adler?
So I'd read some Conan Doyle at high school. However, I'd not read Bohemia. And when they approached me about the role and I was kind of reading the script, Stephen Moffat is like David Goyer, so brilliant at writing such a three-dimensional character on a page that what you saw in the show is exactly what was written. You know, and so I was really, really fortunate that the gift was there on the page. However, I obviously knew her background, her being originally from the States, her being a singer, all of that stuff I knew, but if it wasn't kind of any detail that was put into the script, then it was just kind of background knowledge from myself.
And I have to say, I maintain those 90 minutes were probably the greatest television made last year. No, I
Anyone recall that?
that is a perfect piece of television.
Well, that's a huge credit to Paul Goyer and Fabian Wagner, who we've had the fortune to have as the DP on this TV show.
The DP of that, who shot for Sherlock, is one of the DPs of Vinci Demon, so I saw that and said,
Get me that man.
give me a man.
He makes me look good naked, bring me back.
In portraying Leonardo da Vinci as a swashbuckler, are you going to lose the part of him that made him the truly great thing that he was, the artist and the scientist?
I hope not. No. I mean, what we've tried to do is, because he was incredibly complicated man, and obviously has left behind a huge swathe of things that we're only, even now, not completely understanding. We're trying to honour every aspect of his personality, and hopefully in that, inclusive of that is the action side, the adventure side, but we're also going to see him paint and invent and create some of the things that we've seen now and some of the things we haven't, and we're going to see what it's like to be that smart a guy and have that kind of brain and yet be completely constrained by the period, the people around him, how difficult it is to be that clever in a world where people around you can't keep up with your mind. So hopefully we're honouring every aspect of speculation about him.
He wasn't even allowed to be in the painter's guild, right?
Yeah, well, one of the things that I thought was fascinating, you can chime in on this too, is I didn't realize that Da Vinci was a bastard, and he knew who his father was, but his father was actually in Lorenzo's court. He functioned as his notary, sort of like his lawyer. And when they were crossing each other in the street, his father wouldn't publicly acknowledge him. Da Vinci, Leonardo, he wasn't allowed to inherit any of his father's money. He wasn't allowed to inherit land. He wasn't allowed to join the Painters Guild, and because he was a bastard. So part of his character is that he's coming from this sort of sense of illegitimacy and
Desperately to prove himself, chip on the shoulder.
we think of him as literally the living embodiment of the Renaissance man, but at the time when he was starting out, he was somebody that people were completely dismissive of. And it's interesting to pick him up just as he's at that cross.
Hi, good. My question is also Sherlock related. If you heard of the, I believe it's the Sherlock Holmes movement, and how it related to Irene, the Go Ask Irene, and all that, I would like to know your reaction to that, and if you've heard of it.
I don't know the movement.
No? How? Really?
Go Ask Irene movement?
Well, it's like the Watson's Army, it's the not only I believe in Sherlock Holmes, but it's the Go Ask Irene, and because she knows the truth about Sherlock or not. No?
You mean about his death or not?
Well, that he was real, that he wasn't fake.
I don't know anything about this. This is super interesting. You'll have to educate me.
Google.
But
We'll go ask Irene.
that's all over London and even in America, there were posters and like graffiti all over that said, "I believe in Sherlock Holmes. Moriarty was real."
The problem is, they've kept me in Swansea, in Wales, for the last 4 months of my life. There's no TV. There's nothing.
No, I've not seen the thing, so I'll definitely have to Google it, because no, I don't know anything about it. But thank you for being so supportive of the show.
Yep.
I think this might be another Sherlock question.
I mean, sure, what?
No, it's not a Sherlock question, even though, sorry. Before you guys got casted, were you interested in Da Vinci at all, or was it just like, oh, hi, I'm going to be in this, and oh.
I think it was super interesting to know of such a man, and yet never have really seen anything about like a drama that's been, nothing has really been established before this, has it?
I mean, he was a supporting character in Assassin's Creed.
He pops up in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Pops up in some Marvel comic books. Thank you, Jonathan Hickman.
It is a background figure in the game for him.
But the question for you guys, do you know anything about him, or were you
Well,
just
I
like,
had a
hey,
sort of, to the general understanding that this is basically a bit of art history and art story. We know of him. But when, well, for me, when I got the job, it was a case of going and nursing myself to efficient work. And the more you learn, the more overwhelming the ability is and was and completely overwhelming.
And I presume you to watch out for Mr. Tom Riley, because you're witnessing the kind of a new leading man in television in what he's delivering.
Tom has the goods. I think it'll be willing to be in a much bigger hall.
I have no response to that. That's very nice.
Apart from just logo sniffing your mouth.
Hey, how
Hi, I'm very interested in seeing how you set up Italy under the Vinci, the Florence, and the Vinci. How was it for you guys to work in a kind of world set and how was sort of in that set what kind of inspired you?
I got to go to Florence with my visual effects crew, and these four guys did. We spent about 10 days in Florence doing visual effects plays and subject matter and things like that. So we did a ton of research. It's a historical fantasy, so it's kind of more of a graphic novel approach to history. But that having been said, we were in the Vinci Chapel where they took us backstage in the Duomo. We were in the cells in the Bargello. We went to the Pazzi Castle outside the city. I got to walk through Leonardo's childhood home. I got to...
You broke into Leonardo's
I climbed some barriers. You weren't supposed to go in. I mean, so that was fascinating. I mean, just last week or so, I was in the British Museum, and they took me into their rare documents room. We've got about 24 drawings of Da Vinci's, and I got to handle and hold them, including his non-strip tank. So, I mean, it was amazing to stand in Leonardo's childhood home, a place that we go to in the show, and to hold his drawings and to be in all these places and realize that these people really existed and these places still exist.
And how was it for you guys to work on the stuff that they would then create for you?
No, they said it ran a little bit in a day, and yet what they've managed to build in Swansea in a small amount of time is extraordinary. The production values on the show are like a feature, and we're very fortunate that we're not completely reliant on green screen. We have huge sound stages in Wales, which are now the biggest in Europe. And it's all there for us visually. You know, we've recreated the drama, we've got the Medici Palace, we've got kind of everything going on, and we're also really fortunate in Wales, as David has said previously, that we have an extraordinary number of castles within that country that we can utilise and play with.
Throw a stick and you'll hit a castle in the middle. It looks so
The
great.
rain might get in the way, though.
It did rain a lot. We actually had more rain. They said it was the most rain in recorded history while we were there. So that was cool.
Hi, Tom, David, Laura, and Lyra.
Thank you for joining us. And, thank you.
I think it's Laura and Lara, right? Which is really
I tried. I'm Aubrey from Sherlock NYC, and we're really, we have meetups, and we're always really ecstatic to support current and new projects that you're working on. And one of the things I'd like to ask you, or anyone, one of the biggest things we love watching is the way that you showcase some of fashion is best. Do you have any interesting costuming or wardrobe stories to share for filming this project?
Yeah, but our costume designer, Annie Simon, she's actually just won the Emmy for Great Expectations. So we're working with a genius, and she kind of takes the box, jumps out of it, and runs a mile, and then creates the costumes that we're wearing every day. And it's both David and Annie's kind of visions together, combined, and we're not sticking rigidly within the Renaissance era, so we're able to flash it up with kind of like modern couture. So I'm like walking into my trailer first thing in the morning, and my costume's hanging up, and I'm looking at this dress that's made from 1,800 chicken feathers that have been dyed red and then hand stitched onto a bracket. And I'm looking at this thing like, I'm wearing that? Okay. You're not going to be able to sit down in it, but okay. So
Extraordinary, isn't it, the way Annie's literally gone with this kind of Renaissance theme with the basics of corsets and that type of stuff, and then she'll just like slash a sleeve off, or you'll go from like a big skirt into like these incredible high-waisted couture trousers and accessories.
All the guys are
Sorry guys, I can't wait.
But there's only 3 women in the entire show, so she's been able to really to paint those 3 women really well. So it's been quite extraordinary.
How do your characters get along? Yeah.
Wait till episode 3. That's all I'm going to say.
Not too well.
Yeah.
Cat fight.
I don't know how to get on with them in that situation.
it's fine. We don't actually come across each other that much. We are so aware of each other, obviously, and talk about each other a lot, but actually we don't have that much contact with each other. So when we do, it's kind of feel like there's fireworks going off in the tummy, because it's just...
You see another girl on set. It's like, oh my god!
The stakes are so high with these women.
Thank you.
Hello.
Sorry, this is another Sherlock question, but first of all, I was wondering what was it like to work with everybody in Sherlock, Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, and also, do you see a future for Irene Adler in Sherlock?
I have, to answer the first question, it was an absolute pleasure. I remember walking into the table read on my first day, and they'd just come off of a hit season 1. I think they've just been nominated, season 1 just been nominated for Emmys, just won the BAFTA, Martin Freeman just won his BAFTA for Supporting Actor. And you walk into a room of people who are not only creative and intelligent, but also at that time were creating the best television show in the UK, possibly even internationally, I don't know if that's big. And it felt like the safest place to play, and the most exciting place to be vulnerable, actually. Benedict, as you can imagine, is a gem and a genius and a gentleman, and Martin Freeman is hilarious and very naughty. Super naughty. And it was an absolute pleasure, and the role was a gift. In regards to A Return of Irene Adler, they start shooting January 2013. They are writing the scripts as we speak. I have no idea whether she'll just be a 1-episode wonder, or whether they will bring her in for the final season, but
Thank you.
pleasure.
We have time for one more.
Actually, for Tom, when you said you had to learn to do like ambidextrous, how long did it take you to get over not being able to use like the dominant hand only and learning to use something with the right hand?
Well, I had a pair of foam nunchucks that I had a routine I'd have to do with, that would spin around my head twice, back behind me, catch, but until I could do it as well with my left circle with my right, we didn't start any sword fighting. So it's easier with the sketching because it's done in flashes. And although my apartment is now full of half-finished paintings of Goyer and stuff that I've been trying to do with my left hand as well as my right, it was the actually looking capable fighting with my left hand was a tough one. Although I think he pulled it off.
Well, you know what? I think would be fun is to see that footage one more time. You guys can see it again before we go. So we're going to go, before we do that though, we're going to step out so we can watch the video, guys. Great.
Jeff, he's going to go on, but he doesn't say his last question.
I'll have the bad guy.
This was the second panel I've been to where I've been like right at the cutoff.
Go!
Oh, damn it!
David, before they cut you off.
Okay, so given some of the stuff you know about Da Vinci, Catherine, I don't know if you're feeling this to be spoilers, but in the show, is Da Vinci going to have a boyfriend and what actor will be playing him?
That's an excellent question. We will say that all the speculation that exists about Da Vinci, we will honour it all. And he is not going to be constrained by circumstance, by periods, by the people around him, or by sexuality. And we are not going to shy away from controversy.
And you can, of course, audition.
You know, when you said circumstance, I thought you were going to say circumcision. I don't know why. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Da Vinci's Demons. And here's the first one more time. Let's hear it for the cast and the creator of the